So you want to become a flight attendant, but you're worried about passing the training program, the infamous training program. In this video, I'm going to share the top 10 ways to pass your flight attendant training program with flying colors.
On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant stay.
Hey everyone, my name is Corey Calvin and I just became a brand new flight attendant. I just passed my 4.5-week training program and my initial operating experience, and I'm now sitting at home on reserve, waiting to be called, but I'm a brand new flight attendant. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you all the things that I learned and the ways that are gonna help put you at ease and make sure if you follow these things that you're gonna pass your training and be a very successful flight attendant. So here we go. All right, here's number one. Treat the entire experience as an interview. You know, in an interview, you're always gonna dress appropriately, you're always gonna be on your best behavior, you're always gonna be respectful, you're gonna make sure you're prepared, you're gonna make sure you're well rested, right? So all the things that you would do for an interview, guess what? You gotta do that for the entire time you're in flight attendant training, because interestingly enough, basically, your entire training program is an interview. If you show up late one day, some airlines have zero tolerance. People in our training program, if they're an hour late, they got tossed. If you mouthed off to the instructor or had an attitude, guess what? You got tossed. So again, treat the entire experience as an interview. Life is gonna happen in the entire 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks, or however long it's going to be. There's gonna have many ups and downs in your experience. But when you're at the facility, and guess what? If you're on a bus with other people, when you're at the hotel, wherever you are, the entire time, treat that as an interview, because people are definitely watching and people will hear, especially the trainers, the instructors, your entire department will hear if something went wrong. So again, treat the whole experience as an interview for any kind of job, including your initial operating experience. Until you get your wings and you pass your initial operating experience, you got to treat that whole thing as an interview. And guess what? Like when you're a flight attendant, you still have to uphold those same principles. So you might as well start practicing, because this job, you're going to be in front of people and you have to obviously be a certain way. If you have an attitude in your job, if you're late or you're mean or rude or whatever, guess what? They're not going to tolerate that, because someone else will easily take that position that will. All right, number two, stay out of the drama. Yes, there's drama. Honestly, this whole experience that I went through in flight attendant training, it could have been a reality show. I mean, there was all kinds of storylines happening. When you involve more than 40 people going through a program, staying in the same hotel, riding the same bus every day, you're gonna have drama. People bring their personal stuff into the situation. People have personal lives. Look, stay out of the drama. There's no need to get involved. I know a lot of times people want to go and console people and hug people and be there for people. You don't have to do that. So remember, your job is there to learn how to be a flight attendant, not to console the people, not to be, get involved and wonder what's wrong and go to somebody else because someone was rude. Or look, you're going to have plenty of time to do that outside in your personal life. I'll be honest, stay out of the drama, because there is going to be drama, but just make sure you stay in your own lane. And also, when I say stay out of the drama, sometimes that relates to fear. Sometimes people are extremely nervous and scared about tests coming up in the morning. And remember to not let other people's fear start bubbling up your fear. You're gonna be a little nervous sometimes, that's okay. But when you're in a room and everyone's all nervous and has fear, and maybe there's some tears, there probably will be some tears. Yes, there'll be some tears. Stay out of it. Be in your own lane. And I know that sounds a little harsh sometimes. Someone might say, well, Corey, I'm a hugger and I wanna make sure everyone's okay. I get it. There will be a time and place to do that, but focus on what you're there for, and that's to become the best flight attendant you can be. So again, stay out of the drama. All right, number three is you don't have to be friends with everybody. Now look, it's a social scene, it's a social scenario. When you're in a training program, you're gonna make friends. That's okay. My point is that when you bring 40 people together, not everybody's gonna get along, but you have to be able to find a way to get along with everybody in this situation. That doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. That doesn't mean you have to talk to them or interact with them. But when you're flying at 35,000 feet, guess what? It's tight quarters, and there's going to be people that you may not really care for, but you have to work with them because they're your coworkers. You may not care for their personal opinions or their beliefs, but you have to work with them. Safety is priority, and you have to make sure that you can work with these people. So again, you're not going to be graded for social skills, right? I mean, obviously you have to do verbal skills and things like that, but you're not going to be graded, well, John was not friends with Sally and Sue and Linda, and therefore he's not going to pass the class. Well, that's not the way it works. You're judged and you're graded on the things that you know and the things that you learn. You're not there to be judged on your social skills. So you don't have to become friends with everybody. That's not a requirement. If you go in your hotel room every night and do not socialize with anybody, guess what? That's completely fine. I did not socialize with a lot of people. I'm a very social guy, but I just found that it was better for me to go and study at night and be on my own. And I had a few close friends that I made in the whole process, and that's great. And they're awesome people, but it didn't mean that we had to spend all of our time together. That just meant that we helped each other out when we needed. So again, you're not judged on how social you are, and it doesn't mean you have to make friends with everybody. So again, know what your limits are, and don't feel that you have to, because that's gonna help you get a better score, or that's gonna help you be perceived as being likable. Again, you're not being judged or graded on how well your social skills are. All right, number 4 is know how you study and stick with that. If you're someone that prefers to study on your own and you do better with that, study on your own. You're gonna find lots of opportunities and times when people wanna get together down in the hotel lobby or wherever you're staying to study together. You may feel compelled that you have to do that because you might have to fit in. Well, guess what? You don't have to. I didn't study with anybody the entire time. I studied on my own. There are certain drills that sometimes are helpful to have other people involved. Certainly buddy up and do that. I chose not to. I chose to do everything in my room and study on my own in my own way. There were some times where I wanted to create flashcards. I went online and found an online flashcard that synced to my phone. There are many types of programs out there that you can do that, or you can do the old-fashioned way and do note cards. If you need to draw out things and when you're going through emergency drills, you're able to do that on your own. But don't feel that you have to study with other people just because other people are doing it. When you go through phases of flight, sometimes it is easier to have other people help you with certain things, but it's not necessary. I did not do that, but you certainly can. And again, I think another thing that you should pay attention to, especially as for someone that's on the older side, that's not in their 20s or 30s, that's in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, is that remember to give yourself a break when you study, because the last time that we studied for something was a long time ago. Our brains are different than they were back in the day. So be kind to yourself, and also understand that what your best study method is. If you know that you write everything down and you're better at doing that and studying, stick with it. There's no right or wrong answer. You don't have to do what other people are doing. Make sure you do what you know how to do. And if you don't know what you need to do, try something. And if it doesn't work, try something different. So again, don't feel like you have to do certain things that other people in the class are doing. Stick with what you know, and stick with the best way that you know how to study for exams, for your verbal exams, for your demonstration of safety equipment. There's no wrong way, and do what you know is best for you. All right, number 5 is trust the process. That was actually one of the themes of our entire class. It became sometimes where they would give you a piece of information, but you didn't have all of the information. Again, there is a process, there is a flow. They've done this once or twice before and turned out some very successful flight attendants. So when you're going through a process and they give you the pieces of information right then and there, and you don't have all the information, don't freak out. There's a lot of people in our class that freaked out because they didn't have all the pieces of information when they wanted them. Just remember, they're giving you that piece of information now, and it will build as it continues on. And they're also, the process is, think about it. If they gave you everything you needed to know on day one, you'd be so overwhelmed that you'd stress out so much that it would impact you. They're giving you enough each step of the way in chunks so you can learn the chunk and then you can put it into practice, then you can learn the next chunk and put it into practice, and it all builds on each other. It's not intended to overwhelm you. It might seem overwhelming at times, and yes, it probably will be a little bit. But just know that there is a process behind the scenes. They're not doing something to make you freak out. They're giving you what you need to know when you need to know it. So you have to be able to just relax and know that this piece of information they're training right now is what I need to know, and that tomorrow, whatever information I'm going to be given is going to relate to what I need to, and it's going to stack together, and it's going to be in a flow that makes sense. So if you're sitting in class thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't know this and I don't know that, and how is this going to work? Calm yourself down and remember to trust the process. All right, here's number 6. Remember, and this is a big one, they need you, right? This is what I mean by that. So in our class, a lot of people were freaking out about breaking certain rules or getting kicked out or not saying something the right way, and they're kind of walking on eggshells. But yes, there are certain rules that you should not break. You should not be late. You should, make sure you're wearing the proper attire. Make sure you're following those basic rules. But when it comes to certain things in the class, when you're worrying about things, just remember that they need you. Think about how much money they invested in you. Just to bring you out of your home, fly you to the training, spend 30 or 40 or however many days in a hotel room, that's a good chunk of like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Think about it. And also, on top of that, they spent money to fly out to where you're located or wherever you were and interview you and then fly back and make decisions, right? So by the time this is all said and done, they're investing a good anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 in you. So here's the deal. Remember, they need you. They do not want to send you home because they don't want to bring you there and then waste $5,000 halfway through. They're not trying to find ways to kick you out. Yes, if you do something that breaks a big rule, they will kick you out. They don't want to kick you out. So for example, on the verbal exam, there were certain things that we had to say word for word. Now, you have to remember, when you have a very critical thing that you have to say that triggers something else, that's word for word. But when you're saying something maybe to passengers that if you miss a word or put an and in there that was something that they said word for word and you missed that or add an extra word that doesn't change the meaning of what you're trying to say, they're not going to kick you out. They want to work with you. The instructors are there to help you. They're not going to spend all that time and all that money to try to kick you out. So just remember that they need you and that they're not trying to kick you out. I think a lot of people in my class specifically got freaked out about, oh my gosh, they're trying to kick us out. It's like, no, they want you there. They need you on the line. They need workers. They're not hiring you just to say, you know what, like we want to spend $5,000 just to send you home in week 3. That's not what they're trying to do. So again, hopefully this brings some calmness to you to remember that they actually need you and they're investing a lot of money in you to be there. And so they're willing to work with you. If you mess up a little bit, they're going to work with you, especially if you've been showing and putting in the time that you're a good person and you're willing to learn. They're going to work with you. If you fail a test, guess what? They're going to work with you to try to pass that test and probably help you a lot to pass that test, especially if you've been putting in the time and learning. If you're not putting in that time and you're not paying attention and you're doing all the terrible things, well, guess what? You're probably going to get sent home because you're not doing all those things. But if you're putting good energy into learning and being there, they want to help you. Remember, they need you. All right, number 7, after class every day, go into your flight attendant manual and read the section that they discussed during class. Sometimes, I don't know how all flight attendant training programs work, but usually there's a slide presentation where they take you through a bunch of slides and you take notes. They're not going to walk you through the flight attendant manual word for word. That's really up to you. But my advice, and this really helped me a lot, and I basically was studying when the exam came, I didn't have to cram through my notes because I had already been studying it all along. So the day they discuss something, go home or at your hotel or whatever, relax, spend an hour to chill, and then the next hour or 2 before you go to bed, get out your flight attendant manual and read the flight attendant manual that pertains to the section that you went through that day. Trust me, this is going to help you immensely when it comes time to study for an exam, that you're not having to cram everything in there, because once you heard it in class, you go through it that night, and then during your the test the night before your test, you're reviewing it again. That's 3 separate times. Maybe you do it again for the 4th, but for me, that worked the best way. So after they review the material in class that day, head back, chill, have some dinner, and then spend time reading the flight attendant manual that pertains to that section in class. That helped me a lot. All right, number 8, practice your drills as much as you can. Your flight safety demo, your emergency door drills, any type of drill they teach you in class, go home and actually practice it. Don't go through with your head, do the motions. If you have to create a mock cabin or some mock handles in your hotel room, or draw something on a paper and put it on your wall or on the floor, or whatever you need to do to trigger certain things, because you're not gonna have a cabin trainer at your hotel room. And this is where it could be beneficial to study with other people, because maybe you can all create something together and you can use the same thing. But again, anytime you have the opportunity to practice your drills, do it, especially on the weekends when they give you a little bit of a break, or at night, or the day that you learn it. Continue to practice that day in and day out, because again, practice makes perfect. And once you put that into your memory and into motion, you're most likely gonna just start doing it because you've been doing it by repetition and by repetition. So when they teach you your emergency drills, practice those as much as you can. All right, number 9, and this is a no-brainer, but I gotta tell you, because it can happen, because it happened to me, stay healthy. Stay healthy, by the way, is not just like being away from sick people. It's making sure you're taking your vitamins, make sure that you're eating the right healthy foods. Don't start getting a bunch of fast food and junk if you don't normally do that. Your body needs nutrients to work and absorb information. So again, make sure you get the right nutrients. A lot of times you're responsible for packing a lunch or bringing your own lunch. Don't just go get fast food every day. Make something healthy. You need to absorb healthy food into your body to begin absorbing learning into your brain. Enough water. I can't stress this enough. Make sure you try to get a gallon of water a day. And this is something I tell anybody that wants to become doing an important training program, like for their workout or their body. I do a lot of health and wellness coaching. Getting enough water, at least a gallon of water a day, is super important for anybody. So especially when you're in training, we were in Vegas and oh my gosh, I was dehydrated. I try to get a gallon and a half of water a day. It might be hard. Get a water bottle and measure it every day. So again, vitamin supplements, nutrients, make sure you get the right nutrients, water, and sleep is another thing. Make sure you get a good 6 to 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Again, sleep is going to help you recharge, refresh, get you set for the next day. Get enough sleep. Also, if you can exercise, get your body exercising. Look, I got sick while I was there. I was sick over half the time. It was not fun. I had to put a mask on, and there's a lot of other people sick. Usually around week 2, week 3 is when people start getting sick. Make sure you're healthy and you do all those things, because look, the last thing you want to do is miss a day because you were super, super sick, because most likely they'll kick you out and you'll have to come back and start all over again. So again, stay healthy. Make sure you do all those things that is recommended, because that's going to help set you up for success, especially when it comes time to taking tests and getting all the things done that you need to get done. And last but certainly not least, number 10, have fun. It's not very often that you are in a training class of 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks, 6, whatever the time is, when you have the opportunity to learn a new skill. And yes, you're gonna be around people, a lot of people, 40, maybe 50, whatever the number is, a large group of people. And some of them you may not agree with, some of you may make best friends. Look, having that opportunity, especially for people that are older in life, 30, 40, 50, 60, having those opportunities to be part of a group, learning the same things at the same time is not common. It is one of the best ways to meet new people and form bonds and friendships. And that's the most important thing, is have fun. I know I said some tips about studying on your own, or you don't have to make friends, but look, you're able to go out and do certain things. Enjoy every moment of it. Make it your own. And I think if you can have fun and just enjoy what you're doing, that's gonna make your whole experience even better. Look, being a flight attendant, you're doing the same thing if you think about it over and over and over in the air. It's the people that make a difference. I love being around people and I want to help other people. And I'm going to be doing the same thing over and over and in the air, but I'm going to be helping different people. And for me, that's the most important thing. And I love this opportunity. And I'm really excited about this opportunity because I'm going to be able to do that. And my flight attendant training was so much fun. Make it your own. It's really, really rare that you have this opportunity to be around a smaller group of people for a period of time. You know, when was the last time you took classes at a university or high school, right? It's been a long time, or it's been a while for a lot of us. So take that opportunity to just enjoy it, embrace it, build the bonds that you need to make friends with. Again, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but you need to get along relatively with everybody. So look, have a great time. And honestly, like if you can do all those things, especially have fun, you're going to be fine. All right, there you have it. Those are my top 10 tips, my top 10 takeaways to pass your flight attendant training with flying colors. Look, it was one of the most fun memories and months that I've had. I was also sick for most of it, but I made the best of it. I tried to get as much sleep as I could. I tried to stay healthy. I made some great friends. I studied well. It was so much fun, and I'm really excited for this next chapter of my life. And so, look, if you have any questions or comments or other things that helped you and maybe help other new flight attendants that are going to training, leave them in the comments below. Look, thanks for following along on my flight attendant journey. I'm a brand new flight attendant at the age of 44, being a corporate executive for most of my life and going into becoming a new junior flight attendant at this age is a new season of life. I never thought I would do it, but honestly, I'm so thrilled. I'm so excited to be able to have the opportunity to be around some people, to work on a, I guess maybe more part-time basis. I'm not gonna be needed as much, but look, I love flying. I love the flight benefits. I love helping other people. I love having a little bit of a schedule. Those are all gonna benefit me. And I hope that you have an amazing time as a flight attendant as well. If you have any other tips or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Please like this video and follow along. I can't wait to start sharing more videos of me at 35,000 feet as you follow along on my journey from from the boardroom to the jump seat. All right, talk to you soon.
On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant stay.